9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
And knocked down again. That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
And welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying cool. I haven't said that in a long time, but I think it's about time we bring that one back out. Reed, Chase, behind the glass. Fellas, it is hot. It is very hot. I was outside earlier today, and I can just tell you, hope you guys have some good old AC running in y'all's cars, because back in the day when I was in high school, now I'm fortunate, my car has very functional AC. Granted, I did have to do a big job on the compressor not long ago, which was not cheap, but I'm glad I did that because with the heat that we got, I think, a matter of fact, I'm seeing we have a heat advisory coming up. At least that's what my screen's showing. Does that sound right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot one. Hope you guys are staying cool. Hope you guys are ready to talk some football. We got another day to talk about it. Officially, 7 days in? I think it's now marks 1 full week of fall camp flying by. Another thing I say all the time. But it's very true. We're on to day 7. We're on to day 8, technically. Day 7 is in the book. So we're going to talk about day 7, the latest coming out of Malmore, the practice field, as they gear up for their first scrimmage, which will take place tomorrow. And I think everybody's fired up about that, Reed. I think that's kind of like the first, litmus test a little bit, just kind of to gauge the temperature, to see where things are with this football team. There's been a lot of encouraging, nuggets and intel coming out of training camp so far. I think everybody's really pleased kind of where things are at currently, given that, you expect them to start someplace. We know they got to a great start. We heard that from head coach Kalen DeBoer. I think things are trucking along very nicely. Of course, plenty of work to be done over the next few weeks as we are. Where's Crystal in the chat, man? Let me see. Is she in the chat? Oh, man. Wait, Crystal is in the chat, but I don't know if did she say the number of days? Where's that? Yeah, she did. 24. We're 24 days away, right? So over the next couple of weeks, almost 3 weeks, they still got to keep putting that work in, which they definitely will be doing. And probably a good thing they're doing these morning practices, because I'll be honest with you, Reed, an afternoon practice right now probably could be a problem. I don't know. What do you think? Would you want to be out there with full pads in this heat?
Let alone this morning? No, absolutely not.
Hey, it builds toughness and character, though. Just make sure you're plenty hydrated. Plenty of pickle jars. Did you ever do that in high school when you were playing? Did y'all have like the pickle jars? I know we started using these things, or these packets called Right Stuff. It was a packet of just straight sodium, salt. I'm talking about, like, it was so strong it would like burn your stomach and throat when you drank it.
Ooh.
But it was like a shot. It was like a shot packet. But you had to do it, man. If you ever cramping up immediately, trainer comes over with you, they're ripping off the top, and they're just feeding you Right Stuff. And it just, I mean, it was great for healing and curing cramps. But it was tough to I'm telling you, it's like a shot, man. You had to chase it with Gatorade. It was so strong, but it was just straight salt and sodium. So I'm sure they've got plenty of those. But y'all had what, pickle juice? Like high school, I don't know if you guys were using Right Stuff.
Yeah, no, it was just straight pickle juice. And I mean, it kind of felt like just taking a shot of that. But that, whatever you're talking about, sounds pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it was. I'll pull it up, and I need to see all the ingredients. But I'm pretty sure it's just straight like sodium, salt, and it's crazy that it really does work. Like if you felt a cramp coming on, immediately you would, as soon as you come off the field, right? Like say you're finishing your rack, right after that, go straight to the trainer, like who's just over there. Because when we used to practice, we'd have like trainers at like every station, right? They'd be equipped with their little handy dandy, what are those bags called? The little waist bags. I'm drawing a blank, man. What are those things called? Little pouches, right? You kind of, clip them around your waist, man. They'd have all types of stuff in there. They'd be filled with Right Stuff and all. Just beg for Right Stuff, get you a little shot. And it was crazy. Like your cramp would slowly start kind of alleviating itself. I don't know. Whoever invented Right Stuff, man, they're probably making a hell of a lot of money, because I'm sure every football team, or really probably every sport, is using them at this point. Because this was back, 10 years ago? I feel like when we really started using them, so I'm sure they've probably only grown. Anyway, enough about that. We're going to talk plenty of football again. Day 7 is in the books. We did have an interview, press conference, I should say, from Kane Womack yesterday, where he talked at length about the defense, kind of where things currently stand, went over a number of things. He said something, Reed, that was music to my ears, something that we've been talking about at great length on this show, and that was about third down, right? Some of the coverages that they anticipate maybe adding to the defense, at least their scheme this upcoming season, after some conversations with the GOAT, Nick Saban, over the summer. So it sounds like we're trending in the right direction for some of those things, Reed, that I've been hoping and praying we would see a little bit more of. And he really echoed exactly what I had said, that, 2024, if you go back and watch, we played a lot of man coverage. 2025, it went to a lot more zone, probably something that they really wanted to do a little bit more of in the first place, because that's kind of naturally what he likes to do. Now, it sounds like they're going to add a few more wrinkles in there, play a little bit more man coverage, right? We heard first from Dejon Lee talking about more press technique that they've been working, which that already signaled that you're probably going to start seeing some more man or match coverages. And then to hear Kane Womack pretty much confirm that in the press conference yesterday, it was music to my ears. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to listen to it. So we're going to go back and listen to his press conference after we take this first time out here in a couple moments. And then we'll discuss even more of what he talked about, because he talked about a lot of good stuff. There's one thing I will say about Kane Womack. Whether it's good or bad, I guess it's good for all of us in the media. Could be a little bit, like he says a little too much sometimes. Not really, but you get the point. He's very honest is what I'm getting at. So if he's going to tell you, hey, we're going to start playing more man coverage this season, he's going to tell you. And he gets very specific. So I actually do really appreciate that, because it gives us something to talk about. But I know that one specific thing, and I think Smitty might have tagged us in that on Twitter, but I just was seeing that, and I was like, man, thank you, Jesus, man. Thank you. We have been talking about it this week, and he just confirmed it. I love it. So we'll talk a little bit about that after listening to Kane Womack. I know there's some defensive interviews. Maybe we have some time listening to those. I know things are rolling quick. I want to say today's Wednesday. We may hear from Kalen DeBoer today, or is it scheduled for tomorrow after the scrimmage? I know he's scheduled next. I just can't remember if it's today or tomorrow. If it is scheduled today, we will hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer. But something tells me it's probably tomorrow following the scrimmage. That makes a little bit more sense, and you're not going to hear from him back-to-back days. So we might not have anything today. I have to check the schedule. I'll do that when we hit this timeout. Regardless, we got plenty to catch up on. We're always going to give you guys the latest intel coming out of fall camp, which will break down some simple little nuggets that we can talk about and discuss. Of course, we always answer y'all's questions. I know you guys are dying to ask some questions. We always love when you guys do that. Drop them in the chat. Make it easy. Just type a Q, and then followed by your question. We can get to it directly, know exactly what to look for in the chat, because we've been rolling, man. There's been a lot of people in here, a lot of stuff, so sometimes it gets hard to catch everything. So make sure you guys do that on our streams, that is, at The Miller's Edge on YouTube, at The Miller's Edge on X, personal X at Christian Mill, and on the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. Speaking of Tide 100.9, while you're at it, take your smartphone or your iPad, your tablet, whatever you guys use. Go download that Tide 100.9 app. It's completely free. It's a global app. It will allow you to listen to this show anywhere in the world, but also all that Alabama, really all sports coverage, all Alabama sports coverage on the app. But that includes Alabama football, plus the pre and post game show that I am a part of with Roger Hoover on the pre and Gray Robertson on the post. So make sure you guys check that out and tune in all season long for football coverage on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. I'll be giving you guys the previews and the post-game reactions over there. So make sure you guys check that out as well. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we hear from Alabama defensive coordinator Kane Womack. Some really interesting things we're going to discuss and break down after that. Plus, we'll take your phone calls. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. Love to hear from you guys. That being said, let's take our first time out. We'll be back rolling with Kane Womack right here on the Miller's.
Good news. I'm working on that.
Activate and earn 5% cash back at different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases.
Terms apply. See discover.com/5 for details.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
Learn more about sports registration and academic scholarship opportunities at allegames.com. What's the first step in your gold medal journey? Mark your calendar for June 11th to 13th, 2027.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here
treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
and the dreamers
trying to make a name for themselves.
We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you.
Aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A dangerous heat wave taking shape here as we hold on to sunshine. 96 this afternoon. Heat index values around 105 and a gentle west breeze. Partly cloudy, sticky tonight, a muggy 77. Sunny, hot tomorrow, 99, feeling like 110 with a heat index. And a blistering 100 degrees on Friday. Could hit 102 Saturday and Sunday. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 93 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Stay up to date with the Crimson Tide.
Local high school sports and Bama into pros right here
on Tide 100.9.
Into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've got day number 7 officially in the books. We got to talk about it, Reed. Again, another practice here in Tuscaloosa, but this one a little bit different because it is the day before their first scrimmage, right? So everybody's going to have their eyes and ears on scrimmage number 1. Of course, we want to see, right? I mean, that's the closest you're getting to game-like action. Right. And when it comes to, practice, of course, 11 on 11 is all great work. But scrimmage settings, I just feel like the intensity is already high during camp, but there's just, at least for us, there's just always something about a scrimmage. So I'm really, really looking forward to that first scrimmage and kind of what we can pull and take away from that. Again, it's not going to mean hopefully people aren't saying like, hey, however, whoever plays best at quarterback, we expect them to be the starter. Oh, if this running back has this kind of day, that means he's going to be it doesn't necessarily mean all that, but it just kind of gives you a little bit of an indicator where things currently stand. So that being said, let's listen to this press conference from Kane Womack yesterday, because there was a lot of good things that he mentioned in the press conference, and we got to talk about it. Of course, we love talking defense on this show, being a defensive guy. So that's what we're going to do after we hear from Kane Womack, who spoke to the media following practice number 6 yesterday. This is what he had to say.
Can you talk about the importance of emphasizing the block?
Yeah, that's something just from a physicality standpoint, right? It's one thing to hold a block and do your job and hold your gap responsibility. It's a different thing entirely, right, to be able to disengage and get off and make a play. And so that's something that we've really emphasized. I think, you see it in our defensive line. Freddie's doing a great job with that. C-Rob's group. And then really those linebackers and safeties and secondary support are starting to really fire in there, right? And then be able to disengage. So violence is how you have to play the game to stop the run consistently. And it's an area where I thought we were too inconsistent a year ago. And so that was something we wanted to make sure we addressed.
Who have you seen take strides in that area?
Well, you mean individuals? I think you've got some of the younger guys up front that have really taken some steps and strides in the right direction. I think it's certainly, Terrence Green is a really good example of got to go a little bit limited in spring ball, and then you watch him now. He's starting to make more plays within the defense. Some of those outside linebackers are doing a much better job. Justin Hill's always been a very physical player and can create knockback, but is starting important to understand, right, how to disengage, get off the ball, and finish in the backfield. So I think we're trending in the right direction there.
What sort of impact has Devin Tompkins made so far, and what are some of the other players at the bandit spot?
Yeah, Devin he's a special skill set, just to be that big and athletic, and he can move and do some things both from the bandit position and from the 3 technique position. It allows me as a play caller, right? There's a lot of different things that we can do with him, but just his physicality, his ability to take on blocks, disengage when a lot of times offenses are trying to figure out how can they attack that C-gap area, right? So they're going to create, tight ends in that to create a C-gap area, right? Or a split zone concept, right? Or insert somebody back inside. And so if you can constrict that area, right, it makes it more difficult to run the ball, right? Or for the ball to be able to wind back. And he is a very physical presence in there. You look at the tight ends in our league and there's some really good tight ends, but he's going to be really hard, right, to be able to say, okay, we're going to put a tight end one-on-one with him and win in that C area. So it definitely helps the dynamic of what we need to do to stop the run in that regard. In the bandit position, yeah, we've got there's a number of guys, right, that are in that spot that are getting reps right now. Edric Hill is actually doing some in certain packages for us, and then of course Cavante Henry, Desmond Zulu is in there as well, and then we've got you've seen us last year. Even there's packages where Yanze is playing bandit, and a lot of it is just based upon what we feel like we need, what we want to anticipate from a stop in the run to a pass rush standpoint. Even Yanze sometimes goes over there, right, when we don't want to, drop him out in coverage, right, if we've got a simulated pressure and we're leaving the bandit on as part of the rush. So just a lot of things that we can do there creatively.
All right, I'm going to pause that real quick because I want to break down a few of the things that he went ahead and said, Reed, because I know sometimes we get all the way to the end and it's hard to remember exactly all the key points. Number one, he talked about playing with more violence consistently, right? How important that is if you want to stop the run consistently. So we know that's been a point of emphasis. Hearing him speak on that is definitely big. But of course, you got to go out there and show that. I mean, if I'm being honest, there was moments when you turn on the tape, and that Alabama defense, right? And I know everybody throws around the narrative, Alabama's soft now, right? Don't get me wrong. There were a number of moments where you turn on the tape and you're like, man, this does not look like traditional Alabama. This team looks soft, especially in the trenches. However, there was flashes at times. And between them emphasizing it, bringing in some new guys, especially the way they're trying to utilize these guys, which he just was talking about, I think that will hopefully give us a positive result in areas that we know we need to improve, like he's talking about, consistently stopping the run. He mentioned guys like Justin Hill and others just stepping up and just playing more violent and just taking that next step. You already know Justin Hill could set the edge, but just little nuances. Like there's one clip I remember I watched Justin Hill, man. He was playing a tight end, right? And they were trying to reach block him, and they were trying to, I can't remember if it was like a jet sweep, but they were trying to hit the ball on the perimeter against South Carolina. He just blows the guy up, and he just gets he gets so much knockback that it's almost a bad thing, because he blows him back so far that it virtually almost takes himself out of the play. And so just hearing him explain, him just making those next steps and taking those progressions in terms of shedding, blockers and getting to the football. Those are little details of like football acumen and just knowledge of understanding and having a year under your belt. I'm going to physically jack this guy up. I'm not going to do too much where I take myself out. Now I'm going to violently shed, get to the football, be able to make a play on it. Like those are important little details. So hearing that is definitely very encouraging. And then he talked about, guys like Devin Tompkins and like the, really just the versatility, not only him, but some of these other guys, what they bring, right? And it's one thing to talk about it, but just to kind of paint that picture, it's all situational. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of this defensive line room that we have currently, because you have the personnel now in that defensive line room to really give yourself flexibility and options, meaning, if it's early downs, right, and you're expecting a run-heavy situation, right, or they're in 12, 13 personnel, whatever the case may be, but you're anticipating run. You now have a guy like Devin Tompkins where you can roll out, and like there's always like little sub packages of these things, right? They've got their 3-4 defensive look, right? It's a multiple defense. It's not just some 4-2-5. It's a multiple defense. Well, if you want two, outside backers to offer that edge presence, You want Yonze and you want Justin Hill in the game. Now you still have Devin Tompkins. He can still be lined up, right? When you're in a 3-4, he could be in a 5 because other guy would be in a 9 technique outside the tight end. He could be more in that 4-eye. So then you still have a 300-pounder there because he's 300 pounds but athletic, and he can hold up there easily at that spot. You got a bigger nose in Terrence Green, who's also shed some weight, who offers a little bit more athleticism than you're used to, but still just as big of a body with better length, right? And then you have other guys like Zulu, where if you are in more of a sub situation where you're expected more pass and you want more athleticism, you can sub Zulu in there and then kick Devin Tompkins down, and he's more on the inside. And you're thinking this pass rush, but we want more athleticism on the field. There's so many packages, right? Then he mentioned Edric Hill, a guy who typically was playing defensive tackle, but we know he was undersized for defensive tackle. All right, we're playing a run-heavy team. So we're playing Georgia. They have a lot of pro personnel, big tight ends in the game. Y'all want to go big? We'll go big. We'll put a guy that's a former defensive tackle in Edric Hill in there, and he can play some bandit if we need him to kind of get some reps there. So I think what we're hearing Kane Womack talk about is very interesting because it seems like they have the personnel currently to give them more options than they've really had over the past 2 seasons, right? And I think that's big, right? Because at the end of the day, as a defensive coordinator, your job is to implement your system and your scheme, but you really want to put your guys in position to succeed really based off of the things that they can do. I feel like he's not as constricted. That's probably the most simple way to put it. Now you're able to say, all right, we're getting this look, right? The offense is presenting this challenge for us. This is how we're going to defend this, right? They're going to do this. We're going to defend it this way. And you have a number of different options. And I think that's just really important, right? And it's extremely beneficial. And I think that could help this defense out tremendously because like you talked about the added mass, you don't feel so undersized anymore when you're playing the run. Pass rush needed a little bit of a boost. You have better athleticism with the guys on the interior, and you're expecting the guys on the exterior to take some next steps. So I think the defensive line is really taking shape again. Everybody I've talked to, they've been pleased with where the defensive line is at. I mean, that's with the number of guys, not just the guys we consistently mention, but I think across the board, you're seeing a lot of good stuff out of that defensive line unit. So hopefully it continues that way. We got to hit a timeout when we come back. We keep listening to Kane Womack, keep breaking down what he had to say in his press conference. Plus, we'll get y'all's questions. I see we got a number of them popping up in the chat. 205-342-9904 is the number to the phone lines. We keep on rolling on this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge when we come back right here at Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more in
US Mobile, just go to US Mobile subreddit. Just search for US Mobile and make a decision for yourself. If you're ready, visit usmobile.com.
Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services.
24/7, 365. We've got all your coverage of the Crimson Tide on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to get to y'all's questions some more in the chat. We got the Pastor Payne that jumped on here too, but I want to continue with this Kane Womack interview because we still got some stuff to talk about and break down. So let's go back to that real quick and finish that. Again, this was Kane Womack speaking to the press conference at his press conference yesterday following practice. We're talking about Alabama's defense fall camp 2026. Let's continue.
How is it an asset to see your dad and your brother-in-law out there to help you kind of hover in different?
I've gotten to coach together again. It's awesome seeing him in his element in the weight room, and Dave Ballou does a fantastic job. And, Dom has just got such great experience, and I think he's brought a lot to the table for us and our players. And you see a lot of guys that have already kind of gravitated to him, which is really cool. And those guys, they set the tone in the offseason, right? And there's a product that we get with great energy, passion. Physically, our guys are in a much better position because of what Dave and the rest of our strength coaches are doing in there. And then, my dad, it's been awesome. He's here for at least a week every spring and at least a week every fall camp. He's out there roaming the sidelines. He's usually the one on game day that's further out on the field than the rest of us. He called the games in the box for like 20 years, so he has no sideline etiquette. But it's awesome to have him as a resource.
I know you guys don't like to tackle to the ground in practice because that's how guys tend to get hurt. But how do you make sure there's not a price paid for that in terms of broken tackles in the fall?
It's a fine line, right? It's something that coaches, we continue to ask ourselves. I think it's a year by year adjustment, right? Do you have older players, that you feel like you can trust in certain areas, but you always are bringing younger players around? I think this day and age, I don't think you can ever sit there and say, okay, well, we got enough guys that know how to tackle, so we're not going to tackle in fall camp. And so for us, you want to be very intentional about that. You want to teach the guys there's a certain way to play, right? Just because we're live doesn't mean it's live across the board. You get a chance to hit somebody over the middle in that situation. You see, some of our guys have tagged off in that situation because you don't want to take a cheap shot on a guy. But my job, right, as a coaching staff, our job is to physically get our players ready to play the game. And a lot of it, right, is the energy and juice and the passion that they play with as well. We didn't do a good enough job at the beginning of last season. We got hit in the mouth early against Florida State, and we didn't respond in the second half well enough to go win that game. And so some of that you can say is tackling, but some of it, right, is the passion, energy, and juice that you play with, and both those things have to show up. Today, all right, was the first live work that we got. You saw our guys at the beginning of practice do a really good job of playing with passion and energy, and Patrick Murphy came in and talked to the team about Mudita, right, which is a genuine excitement for your teammates, almost more than yourself. And so that really was impactful yesterday when we heard that message, and it was something that we've kind of been talking about and searching for. And so you saw that early, but then as practice went on, right, you had guys that started to kind of lose, they're getting tired, right? They're starting to wear down, and keeping that same energy as a defense as well. So tackling and energy, all of that goes in hand of being an efficient tackling team.
What are your expectations for Yanze after the big year that he had last year?
Well, I think Yanze has just continued to take steps in the right direction. Here's a guy at the beginning of the season where, he was played a role for us, right? But his role continued to increase and grow. And, I've made no bones about it, right? We haven't had probably the pass rush that we would like over the first 2 years, but Yanze started putting us in a position to where we could do some more things on the back half of last season. And I think that he's continued to elevate his craft. Right now, he's got a lot of confidence when he comes off the edge. You can see it in his movement, his anticipation, and those things got to translate to game day, but certainly excited about his trajectory.
Yesterday, Ryan Grubb was asked who's been tough to block. So I want to ask you the reverse of that. Who's been tough to cover, to defend?
Yeah, that's great. Obviously, Ryan Williams presents a lot of challenges for us. There's things that you have to sit there and say, okay, we've got some great DBs that, we're going to be able to go one-on-one and play man-to-man. But how often do you want to do that? How consistently do you want to do that? Because, Ryan can win. He also, is a guy that when you get him the ball just in space, He's hard to bring down with the first guy. I'm excited about a number of our running backs. I think we've taken a step in the right direction there. Some of those young running backs are really impressive as well. I think our tight end room is continuing to improve in their physicality. I've gotten to work with Richard Owens before. He's a fantastic coach, and I think brings a level and presence to that room from a physical standpoint that I'm excited about. And then, some of those O-linemen are really fighting, man. I think Dave Ballou and his strength staff have done a great job with those guys in the offseason. I think Adrian Clem is doing a really good job with those guys. And so I'm excited to see us, get to put it all together. We got a lot of work to do across the board, but excited about the trajectory of where we're headed.
What do you see from Mark Metz over the summer? What do you expect from him this season?
Luke has always been a guy that when you watch his tape, the energy he plays with, the passion he plays with, and the physicality. And I thought at the beginning of spring ball, he got a little bit where he was more concerned about, the scheme, right, and making a mistake. And he was playing a little bit hesitant at the beginning of spring. And so talk to him like, hey, man, go back to who you are and what you do. You're a guy that can go run and hit and be decisive. And he kind of took that to heart. He took strides as we moved into spring ball, and then you saw that through the summertime, and right now he's playing at a very high level. So excited about him, excited about a number of those linebackers right now that are really playing aggressive. One of the things that I think you see from our defensive line playing more consistent right now is that because they're in their gap and they're doing their job, the linebackers are now playing more aggressive. The safeties are coming down and fitting more aggressively because they have confidence in guys holding their gap responsibility. So all those things, right, go hand in hand when it starts up front. Well, I think, there are times, right, where you have to be able to play match coverage to be able to go win in this league. And, in the offseason, Coach Saban and I talk a lot. And, that was one thing that he brought up watching us on third downs. And I thought he had some really good points of having one or two more variations of things that we can do, right, to be able to complement some of the stuff that we're already doing. And you look at our third down numbers in the past in our history, we've been pretty good. And I thought we're not where we needed to be. We had too many third and longs where we didn't get off the field, and so for us, maybe having a couple more variations and things that we do. And then certainly, to be a dominant defense, you've got to be able to go play some press and man. And that's something that we've always done. We did more of it in 2024. And then last year did a little bit less for a number of reasons. But something that, I hope that we're moving back in a direction to where we feel like we can do that and also play a couple variations of some matchier style coverage.
Is it easier to play press when you got corners as tall as Bijan and Xavier, because if they lose a step, go deep down the field, they got the length maybe to make it up?
Yeah, it's hard to find long guys that can also run, and we have a number of those guys, right? But when you're long, the advantage of being able to get your hands and disrupt routes in the first 5 yards are really critical. And so for us being able to do that from time to time, if you line up and you just play man-to-man, all the time, right? Or you play one style of coverage, it's just eventually you're going to get beat, right? You're going to get beat over top. And so there's a fine line, right? We're going to play, we play a lot of vision style coverage, right? Because, we're going to make teams snap it again, right? We're not going to give something up over top and we're going to rally to the ball and create takeaways and all that. But you've got to continue to mix those things. And being in press and having those long DBs gives us the option to do some of those things from a coverage standpoint within the first 5 yards. So I'm excited about what they're doing. I think Mo Lindquist is phenomenal in the fundamentals that he's teaching with those guys, and they all seem to be taking the right steps.
I love every bit of that last part. Every single bit of that last part. Something I've been talking about for months on this show, and to hear that is music to my ears. Now you guys see why I mentioned that when we first kicked off the show earlier. So now that we've listened to that, we're going to take a break and we're going to respond to it and talk a little bit more in depth on kind of what that means real quick. We bring my dad on, Pastor Payne. He's in there waiting. He'll, I'm sure, chime in on that as well. He'll have some thoughts. And, of course, we'll get y'all's 205-342-9904. And always, you can drop your questions, comments, and concerns down in the chat. We'll address it right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide
1,000. That's 900,000 for a free consultation. No fees unless we win. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than that of other lawyers.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here
treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves.
We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors.
An adult entree purchase. Plus, check out the new Big Game Headquarters menu featuring the affordable All-Stars. The Hillcrest Huddle at Bomb Hours, Tuesdays on Tide 100.9 FM.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact...
Just go to US Mobile subreddit. Just search for US Mobile and make a decision for yourself. If you're ready, visit usmobile.com.
Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A dangerous heat wave taking shape here as we hold on to sunshine. 96 this afternoon. Heat index values around 105 and a gentle west breeze. Partly cloudy, sticky tonight, a muggy 77. Sunny, hot tomorrow, 99, feeling like 110 with a heat index. And a blistering 100 degrees on Friday. Could hit 102 Saturday and Sunday. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 92 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Yes, roll Tide all the time. This is Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just listened to Kane Womack's press conference yesterday, and we got the pastor Payne on here now. Finished with probably one of the best clips that we've gotten out of a press conference in quite some time, and it was Kane Womack announcing pretty much, hey, I speak with Coach Saban in the off seasons, and we talked a little bit about playing a little bit more press, playing a little bit more man, having better numbers on third down situations, getting off the football field, something we struggle with. And I keep saying it, but I really, I'm happy to hear that because I think that's something that clearly can help this defense be even better. They've performed really well. Like, there's no denying that. I mean, they've been a top 20, top 25 defense consistently over the last two seasons. They force a lot of turnovers. They sometimes have a little bit of that bend, don't break mentality. I don't think that's intentional, but, sometimes it turns out that way. That said, I think this can help. And I think some of the additions that they've added, some of the guys taking some, positive steps in the right direction in terms of getting after the quarterback, I think that only is going to help, just like you just were talking about and alluding to the fact that with better pass rush, you can feel a little bit more confident and comfortable lining up, playing a little bit more press, playing a little bit more man. And he even acknowledged what I've been saying. Like, when you have taller cornerbacks, naturally, you're not expecting them to be as fluid, to have that same hip fluidity, change of direction that some of these smaller cornerbacks would have. And if you find guys that are both tall and fluid with that change of direction, they're like unicorns. It's not very common. They feel confident that the number of, taller corners they have can move pretty well, which I agree. I think they can. Now, they're not going to be as good as some of the smaller guys, but they move well for their size. That said, one thing he highlighted was their true benefit when it does come to playing man and press is inside those first 5 yards. I mean, you can get hands on guys. You can be physical. Use that length, right? Use your size to your advantage. And that's my thing. I'm like, you might not have the best change of direction, same burst and acceleration of some of these smaller guys, but you have an advantage that they don't have. And you have length, right? You have long arms. And in college, I mean, you can get your hands on these guys, especially early like that. So personally, I've wanted to see that for some time. I've wanted to see a guy like Dejon Lee use his physicality to his advantage. And it seems like we're starting to kind of unlock some of those things. So I definitely I walked away from that interview very encouraged. Again, there's just a number of things that make you say, okay, like you said, we've seen some of the deficiencies, we've seen some of the weakness, but it feels clear that they're very intentional in trying to address these things, whether it's offensive line with Adrian Clem. I'm going to play that mic'd up here in a moment, just hearing him in his element teaching, right? You can see why guys are so receptive to his coaching. I think he's going to end up being one of the best hires Coach DeBoer has made, just being honest. I mean, I'm not saying that means offensive line is just going to be completely fixed, because I think there's still a number of things and a long way to go. But I think if he's around, even just for a couple years, to kind of really get more of his guys in there and keep teaching, keep developing with some of these younger guys, I think Adrian Clem could be a huge addition when you look back when it's all said and done. Anything else you pulled away from that Kane Womack press conference that we just listened to?
No, I just, again, and I know we was on the chat instead of on the live air when I was talking about, you know, he acknowledged that they had issues as far as, you know, playing bump and run, man-to-man coverage, and that's normally because of lack of pass rush, because they do go hand in hand, right? Great pass defense will equal great pass rush. When you don't have to cover a guy for a long time, when you're getting heat, quick pressure on the quarterback, it helps the defensive backfield out. And they didn't have that synergy there. So that was a problem. So you got to play more zone, because you expect the quarterback to have more time. So you play bend but don't break. Now, that works sometimes, but there's times, as he alluded to, that you need to play pressure. But I'm glad Nick Saban had talked, though. He asked the question, you know, what could they do differently? He mentioned, you know, stuff that you play. You know, you can play zone, but, you know, pattern match. You know, pick up guys that you know, penetrate your zone, turn it into man coverage, stop giving them easy throws. And so that tells me he's willing to learn, because some guys, coaches don't like to hear from other coaches, or they feel like, you know what, I know what I'm doing. But the fact that you humble yourself and say, you know what, Coach Saban, we know what can we do better. That's a good thing. So we'll see. But I think the scrimmage tomorrow is going to say everything. I mean, it really is. It's going to say everything. What they got going on, you know, the guys they brought in, I think you'll be able to start to see with your own eyes where they are. And it's not an end all be all, but at least you can now see instead of the talking season.
No, 100%. I will say this, speaking of hearing from some of those new guys, I saw that Alabama's, I think, featuring a new show starting today. It's called like the Training Camp Show, or I can't remember the exact name of it, but I think it's like every Wednesday or once a week. They'll have like a 15, 20-minute conversation with some players after practice or something like that. And I know today they actually will be featuring 2 transfers, because I guess the rule was the transfers could not speak to the media before their first scrimmage. So now that will take place tomorrow, I guess. Devin Tompkins and Caleb Woodson were the 2 that are featured. So kind of interested in listening to that, right? Now that we're signed up for Alabama over here on the Miller's Edge, we'll be able to tune into that and listen to it and see what those guys have to say. 2 guys that are going to heavily be featured in this defense, 2 guys that were acquired via the transfer portal and that have really flashed a lot of promise thus far through, I guess, first few months of being here in Tuscaloosa. We got a few minutes. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and play this this mic'd up. I thought this was a cool video. I think the content right now with Alabama and Alabama athletics has been really good, man. I feel like it's been a lot better this year than it has been in the past couple years, which is awesome. And yesterday we got a cool video of a mic'd up with Coach Adrian Clem in his element at practice. So let's go ahead and take a look and give it a listen of Adrian Clem, offensive line coach, getting to work at practice.
My shooting match. I didn't even get it from you guys. You guys don't get. I had to go buy it. You guys don't give me anything.
Oh, it's because that's in your game day stuff. We have a whole thing for game day.
Well, it's game day for me every day. Hey, let's start. We get over there, right? Say go. Nice. Say go. Good. Say go. Much better, Casey. Say go. Hey, don't warm up this. Don't put your toes in the water, right? Full tilt from the jump and carry that.
Shout out to the tie.
Bring it, fit. Good, cover. Finish. Good, cover. Good, nice spin. Good job. Excellent. Yeah, Tyrell. Go. Fire out. Don't raise up. Go. Don't play the drill, guys. Go. Explode up. Stay low, Jared. Pad level. So go. Good. Hey, get extension. You let them into your body and then push them off. I want you to deliver us and blow at the point, right? Run to the defender, not to him. Say go. Go, time for hands on. Okay, stay low so you don't have to get low. All you do is just pivot, right? You just pivot like this. I want you to open up. Open up the elbow, right? Open up the elbow. Let's go. That's a little bit better. Good. Let's go. Yeah, David. Hey, David. That's where the off the ball. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Go attack it, Caden. Good. Press. Good. Hey, you keep pressing and driving them through. Keep driving the second level. It's a good job. Now bring your feet. Bring your feet. Good. Good. You just went back to square. You start off initially, right? Drive your post foot back in. As you come back in, get into a kick instead of squaring your feet up and drop it down. Yeah.
There you go. I thought that was a cool video, man. I like stuff like that. Mic'd up, kind of gives you the sights and sounds at practice, but just specifically focused on Adrian Clem getting to work with his offensive line, man. I mean, you just hear how he coaches, man. I mean, it's a true former player.
He knows what he's doing. He knows. Yeah. I mean, you can tell the difference. That's why I didn't like that guy last year. I mean, and I know the radio people can't see it, but a lot of these guys still a little bit too high. Can't play offensive line standing up. We call it straight leg. You can't be a straight-legged player. You don't get your grill handed to you. So, he's seeing these things, extension, all the different things, not letting them get into you. He's teaching them real football stuff, and I love that he's a motivator, and that's a big thing. So I expect this offensive line to be better because of him first, and then they're going to get better because of their talents.
I agree with you on that one. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep rolling. Hour number 2 coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTVC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
The Minnesota Vikings named Kyler Murray as their starting quarterback this year over J.J. McCarthy. Bears safety Kobe Bryant, ex of Seattle, will miss 4 to 6 months after knee surgery last week. The NBA season openers in October will include the 76ers at New York. In the WNBA, Indiana was a 106-92 winner over New York. In tennis, Coco Gauff won her quarterfinal in Toronto. Baseball's late game in L.A. went to the Dodgers in 10 innings, beating Kansas City 5-4. Starter Blake Snell, just off the injured list, struck out 10 in his 6 innings of work. The Reds won in 10 innings at the White Sox 5-4. Detroit beat Cleveland 6-4. The Tigers now just 2.5 games back of the White Sox for the lead in the AL Central. The Yankees sent Seattle to a 5th straight loss, 4-1. Boston lost its 4th in a row, this time 5-3 at Toronto. Tampa Bay won its 8th straight, 12-4 at the A's.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. see. Proud partner. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
In hour number 2 right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking Alabama Fall Camp, practice number 7 in the books. And we just got done listening to, we did just listen to Adrian Clem mic'd up at practice. Again, you heard my dad's thoughts on that, man. I think a lot of people are fired up. We've been talking extremely high about Adrian Clem, even Rich Owens. And I think just the more you get to see these guys in action and seeing the coaching and their process working with these guys, trying to develop them, getting them ready. It just, I don't know, something feels a little bit different. I think we all can appreciate that. 205-342-9904. Let's go to the phone lines. Nick has been patiently waiting. Nick, welcome in.
Hey, Christian, roll Tide, man.
What's up, Nick? Roll Tide, man.
Hey, man, you know, I'm just real excited about the season. I think our defense is going to be fire. I really believe that these linebackers be stepping up. QB Reeves, Luke Metz, I think both of them guys are going to play an important role. But I wanted to talk, you know, just a little, and don't crucify me in the chat because I'm watching. I know everybody has their, but you know, I really like I do like Austin Mack. It is nothing personal when I have said, you know, ever since the off season, I thought, you know, Keelan Russell just would be the best fit. You know, I think getting him in would be, you know, it depends on the offensive line if we're able to run the ball. He brings another element, you know. Yeah, he's young. He could make mistakes, but from what I've heard a few people say, you know, that's got a little insight, that he's been taking care of the ball a lot better. And I know it's probably a neck-and-neck race, and if it's that close, I mean, gosh, I would go with a guy, but I'm not the coach. And whoever they choose, I'm going to fully support them. I'm not one of those fans that'll get and go try to crucify them on. That is not what I do. I support every Alabama player on there, and hearing that he got out there and was throwing with the kids and stuff like that. I really like Austin Mack. I think he's a great player. And who knows? He may be the right fit this year. I'm going to trust the coaching staff. They know more about quarterbacks than I do. I'm just saying, you know. And you know, how on the defense, do you feel about the same about those linebackers? I mean, I think that's our biggest concern. I think the defensive line is going to be is going to be good. I'm hearing people are saying that this is going to be like an older defense like we had back in the day, the defensive line. Now, they got to prove it, but, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I did just hear Kane Wommack talk about the fact that the defensive linemen, their fits have been a lot better. Their ability to, maintain their gap integrity has allowed these linebackers to play a lot more free, a lot faster, right? Getting downhill, not having to worry as much about guys climbing to the second level, getting on top of them. So that alone, talent aside, I think could be a very big boost for the linebacker core. Hearing the energy that these guys play with, right? Like Luke Metz, Kane Wommack talked a lot about him and kind of just that energy, that passion that he plays with. I like QB Reese. He's a little on the undersized side of things, but he's instinctive, man. And, he's very reactive to seeing him in those limited opportunities. I mean, he's made plays. I think he's a good football player. And the fact that you got a guy next to him who's 6'3", 240, it's not like you got just two undersized backers. I feel a little bit better knowing that we got one guy that's 6'3", 240. Other guy might be a little bit more undersized. But then we also got a guy like Luke Metz, who's a little bit bigger. And then we also can deploy him in certain situations, right? Whether, we use one guy for sub that might be a little bit better in coverage, that you feel better playing in space. Other guy might be more of your base backer. That way, when you're playing 12 personnel and more run-heavy offenses. So I think they're very intriguing. I'm really excited to continue watching Caleb Woodson because, the guy is 6'3", 240, can run like a deer, and he looks physical in all the times that I've seen, right? And a number of those guys do. So I want to keep seeing those guys take those next steps. That's one of the position battles right now, that second linebacker spot, personally, that I feel like has shown a lot of good competition. A lot of guys are getting some good work there, and I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of how it plays out. But I do believe the linebacker play is important. I don't, from a production standpoint, we'll kind of see how things turn out, but I almost view them similar to like the offensive line kind of deal, where I can't say like the talent we have at the position this year is just better than what we've had, but I think there's a chance that they're able to play just as good, maybe do a little bit better in certain aspects, just because of other factors.
Well, Coach Wommack said it best in the interview when he was talking to about the defensive line, and he used a key phrase. He talked about being in the right gap, being in the right places, and I know that because you go back and watch last year's tape, you see a lot of times they got gashed in the run game. It has nothing to do with talent. It was all about just being in the wrong place. And the thing about being a good defensive run-stop team, your fits have to be perfect. Even from your head. You're a B-gap player, but you get nosy and stick your head over in the A-gap, and backs don't need much room, and to get through and get positive yards. And so I think the fact that he said that, hey, we're playing up front, not so much physically. He's saying we're playing much more mentally sharp right now, being in the right place, having our right fits. And when they're in the right fits, it allows the linebackers. He talked about the linebackers to what we call fast flow to the football. When I played inside, and you go look at Ray Lewis, look at the great inside linebackers. They were great because of what them big nasty boys did up front. Sometimes keeping those D linemen off of them, stopping them from getting up to the second level of the defense. Allowing them to run through gaps and getting into the backfield, creating tackle for losses. So if all these things hold true, Bama's problem is not talent. I think it's a scheme, and I think it's about just maturing and getting better there. They're going to be just as talented as anybody that they step on the football field and play. They're not going to be the less talented team most of the time. So getting them in the right places, teaching them how to play the game, like we just showed with the offensive line coach, getting that motivating factor that they need from a guy that they'll listen to, they'll play much harder for. I think that to me is positive. Now, we got to obviously see it, but I think that is definitely being the right tendencies and the right trajectory going forward.
Right. And Pastor Payne, hey, man, I love you. I love you coming on. I know some people like, man, I love you coming on. I don't always agree with you, but I respect you. Because you played all those years. You know what you're talking about. So I do
Most of the time. Yeah. Thank you, though.
But But I just have one more question. In y'all's eyes, who do you think may be wearing the green dot this year?
I would say Caleb Woodson. From my understanding, he's been the green dot backer. Yeah, from my understanding, he's been the green dot guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for him. I'm really excited for him.
Yeah. And just one more little thing. Me and Army were talking about Ivan Taylor is pushing Keon Sabb, and he may even push him out. If Keon Sabb don't show improvement, Ivan Taylor may take that position, We'll just have to see. Let's let the season start, and let's see what we got going. I'm just excited for it. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you guys. And,
thank you so much, Nick. Yeah, roll Tide. Appreciate you always support and being in the chat, hanging out. And, of course, we always enjoy talking to you on the phone line. So, man, we appreciate that, Nick.
Yeah. Can't wait for the season so you can break down everything.
Don't worry. It's coming.
About that.
Don't worry. We got all the X's and O's coming. Y'all are going to be in football class session. Don't worry. There's more than you probably want to. So we're looking forward to it.
Hey, no, I want to know more.
There we go. Well, Nick, we appreciate you, brother.
All right. You too, man.
Yes,
Take care, Nick.
Good deal.
So Nick's on the real line and on the chat. I see him.
Oh, yeah. Nick's in here like early every day. Telling folks hit that like button, greeting the other folks. Yeah, we love Nick, man. We love all listeners, but Nick is he's awesome.
But some of these folks, hey, chat, let me just real quick. Some of y'all crazy with this NFL stuff. The fact that you talking about the Raiders gonna win the Super Bowl, you drinking way too early this morning.
Yeah, I don't know about the Raiders winning the Super Bowl, but I'm excited to watch Fernando. Mr. Cuban himself. I'm excited to see what he can do. I know they still got Kirk Cousins there, but well, for now. But I think he could end up.
Well, I think it's good for him to be on the bench because I think that's what it should be. These quarterbacks coming in and having to play too quickly, I think hurts their career. So when you've got a guy, that can get in there and at least hold serve for you until that young guy gets ready, gets a little bit more mature, then you can go maybe mid-season and say, okay, now you take the reign, and that's the way to do it. So I like bringing Kirk Cousins in and letting him go and then letting him learn, and we'll see what he can do. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. Preseason starts this week, man. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, Panthers got a crazy dub against the Cardinals in that Hall of Fame game with Haynes King having that, walk-off touchdown to give us the dub. So that was cool. To Nick's point about Ivan Taylor, I mean, he's going to be on the field, whether that's pushing a guy like Keon Sabb or even just some dime packages, some other looks where or even just rotating guys. Kenny Womack and staff, they've shown to rotate a number of players who can play. And Ivan Taylor, he's just, since the spring, man, he's been flashing left and right. And I think he's definitely going to carve himself out a nice role, whether that might be on the heels of one of the starters. But I'll be honest, that's a good problem to have, right? I mean, if you got a guy as a depth piece that's on the heels of a guy that's a good football player as well, that's a pretty good problem to have, in my opinion. That means you got some really good competition. That raises everybody's game. And, of course, for depth purposes, right? That's what you want whenever you get.
Bama looks good in uniform. I've been watching all these other little clips put on there. Bama. I mean, when you look at these guys.
Oh, they look the part. This team. They're not small.
They look better than most people. I mean, I watch SEC all day and all the camp tours, and, they look good. But, again, we got to get past the looking like Tarzan and playing like Jane. We got to get past that, though. That's what we got to get to.
They passed the eye test from the secondary with how much length they have, probably the tallest secondary on average in the country. Then you get down to the defensive line, where they've added a lot more length and size. I mean, they've got that box checked with the eye test. But like you said, man, it's all about really what you do between those 53 yards.
Yep. And don't win any games by looking good in shorts.
That's always been true, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling on this Wednesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, We transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393.
Best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless...
More to Move You event at Tuscaloosa Mazda. New location, corner of Skyland East Boulevard and Palisades Drive. TuscaloosaMazda.com. For details, visit TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A dangerous heat wave taking shape here as we hold on to sunshine. 96 this afternoon. Heat index values around 105 and a gentle west breeze. Partly cloudy, sticky tonight, a muggy 77. Sunny, hot tomorrow, 99, feeling like 110 with a heat index. And a blistering 100 degrees on Friday. Could hit 102 Saturday and Sunday. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 92 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Your front row seat to all things Alabama. Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. We're talking fall camp, day number 7 in the books. You got your first scrimmage tomorrow, right? So that's going to definitely give us a lot of, I guess, early answers, right? I'm always cautious when saying that because I don't want people to, put too much stock or too many eggs in that basket, right? That scrimmage number 1 happens and all of a sudden it's like, hey, that means that this guy did good. We know this, we know that. It's not necessarily that, but it is a little bit of like a litmus test, in my opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to kind of what we'll get from scrimmage number 1. Of course, quarterback battle, that's probably going to be the headline. We've been talking a little bit about it, and anytime you've asked folks about it, it's kind of the same thing. Some people might think one guy's a little bit slightly ahead, and if you ask others, they'll probably say the other, maybe, right? But realistically, I think it's very ongoing, very much even. Let me ask you, because I don't think we've asked you this question. If it was you, or maybe we did already, but I know you haven't necessarily seen these guys, but I'm saying if you were Kalen DeBoer in this situation, and let's say the quarterback battle is as even as everybody's portraying it to be, and say it continues that way all the way up until game 1. Say, like, scrimmage number 1 happens, they both do a great job. Scrimmage number 2 happens, still nobody truly separates themselves. If it is a situation like that, which I don't, might not be that, I'm just saying, if you were Kalen DeBoer, how would you approach that? If it was so close, you got to pick one. Do you just naturally just lean to the senior or the 4th-year guy in Austin Mack? And the reason I'm bringing this up, because Smitty has made this point where he's saying to him it's a little concerning. I think it was Smitty or somebody made this point that it's a little concerning that the guy who's got an extra year or 2 experience over the other guy hasn't separated himself just yet. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily concerning, because that also could just mean that Keelan Russell does, in fact, have this ceiling and potential that we've been expressing since the guy stepped on campus, right? Like, I've known that, and I think everybody else knows that at this point. So I don't think that's necessarily like a bad look on Austin Mack's part that he hasn't fully separated himself, because it's only been 1 week. I mean, They just went pads for the first time like a day ago. This first scrimmage hadn't happened. I mean, what's your take on that? Like, if it is as close as things have been or have seemed?
Well, the bottom line is this right here. When you're talking about quarterback competition is, you got Austin Mack, who has been around. He's been in the system. He understands. So I would expect him to know a little bit more about how to run Kalen DeVore's system, Ryan Grubb's system, more so than the highly talented, I'll call him freshman, but young buck Russell, right? So my point, I always said I thought it was going to be Austin Mack because I thought he was the last person we seen, right? A game against Indiana. He stepped in. He played against the national championship winning football team. They had starters still on the field. He got the fast bullets at him. He saw live game action. And I think that helped him going now into the off season. You come into a guy who hadn't played at all, and Russell, though very talented, got a live arm. He can improvise. He can extend plays. He can do all of that, but he lacks the most important thing, which is experience. So if you're Kalen DeVore and you're looking at, I got these two choices right now. Do I go with the young gun? Do I go with the guy that probably got the best upside, which is Russell? He's your future. He is your guy. But do I go with him early? And do I go with him having to make mistakes, maybe lose confidence, having to take him out and put Mack in? I would say no. I say you go with the older guy. It could be close. The competition could be extremely close. Even Russell may be playing a little bit better, right? But I'm going to go with the veteran. I'm going to go with the guy that's been around, been a part of college football, played in some games, especially last year. And even though it wasn't great time, it was time where he saw a great football team and had to play against them. So, and I enjoy watching him do some good things, right? He seemed very poised. The moment wasn't too big for him. And you talking about this was playoff football. The moment wasn't too big for him. He looked confident in the huddle. He commanded the huddle. That tells me he got a sense of leadership there as well. So if you're Kalen DeVore, you got to go with Mack. You have to. But he needs to understand that the leash is short, right? And the other point I would make is the fact that you have a very inexperienced offensive line or an offensive line that hasn't played together. The best offensive lines, they play together the longest. They understand one another. It's just that synergy that you have. Alabama doesn't have that. So I want a guy in there that's a little bit more mature because my line is not what it needs to be, at least right now. And then let's go and see. Now, if Matt continues to play at the level where they're winning games and they're doing some great things, you're not going to make a quarterback change. Now, you might tell Russell to play some when they got, big leads and win, but you're not going to make a change there. Now, if he struggles, put the young guy in there. You have nothing to lose. Let him go in there and learn. Let him go in there and play. Let him go in there and make some big plays. Let him build his confidence. So it's really a very peculiar situation for a coach. I've been around and I've seen coaches having to make these types of decisions. We saw, even with Nick Saban a few years back. I mean, he kept saying that using the phrase, the cake is still in the oven. The cake is not done yet. When it came to who am I talking about?
Jalen Milroe and Tyler Buckner and who was Ty Simpson, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a train wreck. I mean,
that was bad, man.
That didn't work out good. The cake, you ever seen a cake? Your mom baking a cake, and the cake falls down because they tell you don't walk too heavy on the floor, and the cake just falls and crashes. That's what that situation was like.
Well, hold on. That was 2023,
well,
right?
Then he put the guy down and he started the kid from the transfer.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying, well, think about it. No, remember, it actually didn't work out bad because they won an SEC championship that year.
But initially it did.
No, it was bad at first because they lost early to Texas at home. I think that was Texas' first year in the conference, and we had to hear all about that. Then you're right, Jalen was, maybe you want to call it pulled, bench, whatever. USF,
which helped him, which he grew from that, right? He grew from the adversity there, and he got better as a quarterback. We go with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, that situation. So we've seen these situations at Alabama before. They're not an unfamiliar thing, but if you're Kalen DeVore, this is a very tricky year. You're coming off a good season, but you had a lot of ugly things happen. We talk about that. Don't need to bring those up. What are you going to do? I say it's going to be Austin Mack to start. I do think Russell is going to be the guy that finishes. I just do. I think
like Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think his upside is so high, and I think it's going to be a situation where things are not going well. They're gonna put him in the ball game. He's going to get the offense. He's going to take him down the field and score a touchdown. And that's going to be his moment. He's going to have that moment that's going to really propel his career at the University of Alabama. I think that's what he has. But again, a lot of this is predicated on the offensive line, and based on what we just saw from the top of the hour. The offensive line coach, the mindset there, they're going to be physical. They're going to run the football. They're going to be more committed to the run. That's going to help those young quarterbacks. They're going to not be so predictable. That's going to help those quarterbacks. So I think they got a lot of good things, but this is definitely going to be a big decision, and it's going to get a lot of not just local attention from the press there, but it's going to get national attention. So what he does there is going to be big. If he makes it wrong early, you're going to hear from it from everybody.
It sounds like you're seeing in agreement with me that there's been a number of encouraging signs so far through 1 week of training camp. Again, that doesn't mean that things are fixed or things are perfect, but it seems like you also feel that way. So let me ask you this. Your preseason perception of this football team was very much in line with some of the big names in the national media side of things, where a lot of people pretty much are writing Alabama off. Right. And not everybody completely wrote them off, but a lot of people in the Stephen A. Smiths and Paul Feinbaums, they were basically leaving Alabama left for dead, right? To the point where they didn't even hardly have any true expectations for Alabama this season. Others, are a little bit more, it's contained, and I think it's a little bit more realistic given the fact that, you can predict maybe 9-3, a potential 10-2 if things all go right. I think that's a very fair sentiment given, kind of where things were currently, but I guess prior, right, during the offseason. Training camp feels like there's some encouraging signs. I wanted to ask you, we got to hit this time out. I'll let you answer when we come back. Are those signs encouraging enough to maybe have you not officially change your prediction or I guess your perception of this football team, but are they starting to make you question whether you were a little, not just you, but I'm saying you or anybody that felt prior to training camp and getting to really see some of these things take place and some of these improvements, right, over the last couple months or so, things letting things really marinate. Is there something in you that's kind of like, man, maybe I need to give this football team a second look just to make sure I had the right opinion on them? Well, you can wait to answer that when we come back right here on this Wednesday edition. Plus, we got some phone calls to get to on the Miller.
Get your life back, baby. Stephen Mezrano, Alabama Injury Lawyers. Mez wins.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy, founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases, known for real care and relentless advocacy.
The Crimson Tide, sold in stadium and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
From kickoff to the final whistle, we've got you covered. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Into this Wednesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. I posed a question to my dad, and I'm going to let him answer before we go to these phone lines real quick. Plus, you guys keep dropping y'all's questions here in the chat. We'll hit those as best as we can. But my question was, with all the encouraging signs that we've kind of seen through 1 week of training camp here in Tuscaloosa, somebody like my dad, he's a straight shooter, right? He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks, and he's going to be a tough critic. We all know that, you guys. If you've listened to the show, you know how he is. He's an Alabama fan, but he's definitely a tough critic. That said, sounds like he likes some of the things that he's seen come out of training camp, and rightfully so. I think a lot of people are starting to come around to some of the question marks that this football team has had. Now, that doesn't mean they're fixed, but it seems like they're kind of trending in the right direction. The question was, is it enough to have you at least kind of give them a second look, get maybe a second opinion? What's your thoughts on that?
No, I like a lot what they're doing. I mean, I like some decisions, not just from the start of practice, but even some of the decisions and the hiring of coaches that he has paid attention of things that need to be changed. And I think that's a good thing when a coach says, you know what, I need to make some changes. I didn't do all the right things early on, so I'm gonna make some decisions to do something different here. First of all, I like that part of it, and I think that's a great sign. And then when the offensive line coach, I'm big on former players. I don't think former players have all the answers, but I think they're good to be on your roster when it comes to coaching. I think that it helps motivate them guys. See these guys that have played football at the highest level. They're going to listen. They're going to tune in because they want to be that. They want to get to where that guy's been. And so my whole thing is I do like what they're doing. I love what Coach Womack, the interview we just listened to, I love what he was saying. I love what I love what Ryan Grove was saying the other day. He seemed to be more intentional when it comes to the run game, knowing that they had to be more physical. So that tells me their mindset has changed. And I'm excited about it. Now, I think after the scrimmage tomorrow, we'll know a little bit more. Then the next one, we'll know a little bit more, But really, we're not going to know all the answers until the real games start. I mean, who is this football team? What's the identity? What's the mindset of the Alabama Crimson Tide? But, yes, to answer your question, yes, I feel better, but I'm not feeling good enough yet to say I think they can be 10-2. You know me, I'm from Missouri, not originally, not really. The show me state, I need to see them go a step further.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I just was curious because I know even me, right? I mean, my outlook was a little bit more positive than yours, right? But I'm almost to the point where, again, my initial, preseason record prediction was along the lines of 9-3. Said definitely if things go well, right, they overcome those growing pains, they don't drop one that they shouldn't. I definitely believe 10-2 is well within their realm of possibilities, without a doubt. And I'm just saying, with some of the early signs, I feel a little bit more confident in saying I'm almost leaning a little bit that I'm not saying I'm not moving it to 10-2 just yet. It's way too early. But I feel like the ball is rolling a little bit for me to say, okay, if that continues the way it's, I guess the rate is going right now, I feel like that's definitely a little bit more of a realistic possibility, right? Say it was at like a 20% chance. Now it might be at about a 30% chance in my mind, right? Again, and I'm not Cleo. I'm not a psychic. I'm just saying that's for me. I might have gone from a 20% chance you see 10-2 to maybe more 30% just by some of the early indications and signs.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the other thing that you can add to that is the urgency. I think Kalen DeBoer has an urgency. I mean, he's really feeling, the pressure of the fan base, the community, of what the expectation really is. Like, you can go to Atlanta and play for SEC championship. You can go to the college football playoffs, and yet the fan base will be extremely miserable with you, right? And I think, that's not good enough. This was South Carolina. This was another, Vanderbilt, teams that are not championship minded. that's not the end all be all. That's cool to go 9-4, 10, whatever, and you make it to those games and lose, but not at Alabama because that culture has been set. You know, they know what it feels like. They've been there so many times and understand, hey, this is not who we are. So I think that has made him different. That made him go look at, okay, I got to go get the best coaches. I got to bring in some key guys. Although I'm not sold on all the guys, I think he could have done more with the transfer portal. I wasn't happy about that. That's one of the negatives for me with this team in the offseason. But he is doing some good things. The trajectory is different. So let's just see. You know, it ain't enough to move the needle for me. I still think they're 8.5 win total type of football team right now, just based on paper. One, largely because of the quarterback. We don't know who that's going to be, and we don't know how the offensive line is going to turn out and be. But those just question marks. I mean, but I think they have just as much of an opportunity to win at a high level as anybody in the conference. Yeah, I like LSU. You know, I like Georgia. I like Ole Miss with Trinidad coming back. You know, these teams are going to be dangerous, scary teams. Texas A&M, they got talent, you know, but Alabama has that as well. So did the coach get out of his own way? I think, yes, changing things around the program, around the building, stop letting, you know, Roll Tide Willie break the team down, stop all the watermelon and ice.
You're never going to let that one. You're never going to let that go.
That right there, that did something to me bad. Like that, I gotta go to the Lord on that one.
He was new. He was new to town. Listen,
you can't let a drunk be out there breaking your teeth.
He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. He's really nice.
Yeah,
he didn't shotgun in front of the team. But no, I get what you're saying. Hey, but listen, Kalen Morton, he didn't really know. He was new to town. He didn't really know, and I think he learned quickly. Yeah,
great coaches learn, even though they've had great success. They still have to have the ability to learn and grow. And I think that's what Kalen the boy has done. So I can applaud him for that. And I can applaud him for making some necessary changes, like especially offensive line, because that's just unacceptable. The way they got dominated, they couldn't run the football.
Couldn't execute. That was my biggest thing.
It was abysmal.
No
execution. Being honest, it was abysmal. And so those two positions, we talked about it ad nauseum, in the trenches, both sides of the ball has to be better. I'm glad to hear Kane talking about the play of the defensive line is getting better. And I hope we see that at the offensive line.
Let's take some phone calls real quick. 205-342-9994. We got Dairy Queen Gene up first. Gene, welcome in.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, Christian.
Absolutely.
I think the issue with trying to decide on a quarterback, the fans want to make it an emotional issue, whereas the coaches and the professionals want to make it an objective issue. And that's where everybody's kind of getting stumbled around because everybody really likes Keelan. But I think Mac may be the better quarterback with the best experience. So it's going to be a tough decision when you get emotions involved in it.
Yeah, well, I don't think that, like you said, the coaches are definitely not, because at the end of the day, their livelihood depends on this, right? I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, he has loyalty to this guy." You know, loyalty can only go so far when it comes to people's lives. I mean, their families are dependent on their job security, so best believe they're going to make decisions based off of that first and foremost. But you know, it's tough to tell who exactly is that best guy, and just because one guy's better right now doesn't mean he's the better player overall. I think people have to learn how to differentiate that. There's a number of times where you might have a more talented. I played with a number of guys that were young when we came in, and they were more talented, some of the guys that played in front of us. But because Coach Saban knew that experience was there, he could trust them. There was less of a chance you're going to have mental errors and mistakes that could lead to big plays or big situations. He would sometimes lean towards that guy that he just had a little bit more trust in. So I think that trust factor, and that's why you're hearing Ryan Grubb talk about that. Who can show up consistently with command of the offense and operate things and basically move the football, have everybody, working as a unit. Those are important. Of course, big plays and explosives are really important as well, but sometimes it's kind of like a high risk, high reward situation. And I think that's probably Keelan's biggest battle, right? Can he prove that he has just as much command as the guy with more experience? Because we know the ceiling's probably a little bit higher with him, but the other guy probably has a little bit more of an edge in the other aspects that are also very important, especially the quarterback spot.
How many teams in this country would like to have this problem?
Probably a good bit. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people like the comfort of bringing in an experienced veteran, whether it's from the transfer portal, and that definitely works for a lot of people. But I have a respect and appreciation for the way we're doing it. I mean, these are homegrown guys. They're very talented in their own right. They just lack experience, and to see them battle it out and compete makes you feel good knowing whichever way it goes, either guy probably is going to be able to win you some football games. And if you ever need the other guy, because you always need a backup quarterback, you're probably going to feel good about the two that you have versus some people invest so much in that one guy. Backup plan might not always be there.
Christian, I called you with a question that people are wanting to know, at least this person is. Mm-hmm. What is your perspective on Ty Haywood? Ty Haywood, the 5-star out of Texas, that was $1 million bonus baby and went to Michigan. I have not heard his name mentioned even in passing. I had to check the roster to even see if he's still on the team. Where is Mr. Haywood?
I would just say developing, right? And I think a lot of people have these expectations for guys strictly based off of where they're recruited, their recruiting rankings. But I think it's important to note, right? And I'm probably the best example of this. I was ranked as the number 1 outside linebacker according to ESPN, number 2 or number 3 outside linebacker to other services, was a 5-star on the site. But I was 210, 215 pounds. If everybody said, oh, because I'm a 5-star or top-rated guy, I'm supposed to be this guy in year 1 or year 2. When I even knew that was not the case, Coach Saban and staff knew that wouldn't be the case, people would probably feel like I was a letdown. Now, granted, it was different back then because we actually had time to sit there and develop. Now you're expected to contribute a little bit sooner with NIL and the transfer portal and all that stuff. But I would just say everybody's, journey is a little bit different. Their development is different. With him, it's different because I had to develop physically. That was my biggest thing. I'm pretty sure he's already got the size. Probably needed to play offensive line, but I think he's still probably a little raw. And there's some other guys that are in front of him that are a little bit further along. And offensive line, if I'm being honest with you, that's one of those spots. If he was a skill position and he was being this late to develop, you can get on the field earlier as a skill position. If you're going to play in the trenches, especially the offensive line, it's not always just about, hey, this guy has a lot of raw talent. Like, there's so many other factors when it comes to earning a spot in that group. So to answer your question, I think he's just developing. I think he still has a bright future. I just don't see him making that impact early on because he is only this is his second year in college. Last year, he was a true freshman. So he's still young. I just think too many people are basing off of where he was, ranked in recruiting rankings. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he was still young and raw in high school. I don't think he had a whole bunch of experience at that point in time. So I would just be patient with him.
Where does $1 million man come from?
Well, I think he's referring to, so he was committed to Alabama. Let me give you a backstory real quick. He was committed to Alabama. He was a big recruit, like a top 50, top 60 type of guy, I think. Anyway, he ended up flipping to Michigan, and I think they paid him a whole bunch of money to get him to flip to Michigan. He went to Michigan, and he pretty much redshirted last year. He didn't hardly play at all. So they paid him a bunch of money to sign with Michigan just for him to then turn around, enter the transfer portal, and transfer to the University of Alabama where he was originally committed. So I think a lot of people for that reason have had really high expectations.
But the coach got in trouble too, though.
That was that situation. But regardless, he got paid some good money to go to Michigan, I'm sure. Then he came back here. That's what he was referring to.
Sound like he's a good businessman.
Yeah, that's true. Gene, we appreciate that, man. Yeah, like I said, I would just be patient with him. I think he's definitely got a lot of upside. It's just right now he's probably just a little bit behind some of these other guys that might be older, that might just be in better positions to contribute, and that's probably all that is.
Well, I'll keep an open mind and an open ear and hopefully he won't just be an afterthought when the coaches mention some of these guys developing. But thank you again for taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for calling.
Take care, buddy.
All right, good deal. Let's hit a timeout. We come back. We got to hit these other phone calls.
At Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Find adventure, power, and performance today at Tuscaloosa Jeep Dodge Ram.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers,
trying to make a name for themselves.
We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping
entree purchase. Plus, check out the new Big Game Headquarters menu featuring the affordable All-Stars. The Hillcrest Huddle at Bomb Hours, Tuesdays on Tide 100.9 FM.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A dangerous heat wave taking shape here as we hold on to sunshine. 96 this afternoon. Heat index values around 105 and a gentle west breeze. Partly cloudy, sticky tonight, a muggy 77. Sunny, hot tomorrow, 99, feeling like 110 with a heat index. And a blistering 100 degrees on Friday. Could hit 102 Saturday and Sunday. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 93 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
From yesterday's legends to tomorrow's stars. Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
No one better.
The home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Straight to the phone lines. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, gentlemen?
What's up, Smitty?
Smitty, dog, what you got on the grill? What you cooking for lunch? What's happening?
One thing we did talk about food is that we need to teach these boys Alabama, hey, when you have that cookout, put those burgers and hot dogs between white bread, not brioche buns. Gotta toughen them up, you know.
Jesus.
Hey, you make with that fried bologna sandwich? They don't know.
Man, yeah, fried bologna, but I throw me some of that fried croaker between there with the bones in it, and just bite it and spit the bones out. Sometimes you just swallow the bones and then eat your raw egg so it go down. They don't know nothing about that good eating like that, Smith.
Christian looking at us like we got a horn in our head right now. But
No, so I got a million things. I got stuff. My phone's blowing up. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, one thing though, y'all the last call to my emotional quarterback. It is hard to pick the new guy over the guy that's been with you, because for instance, last year, Lane Kiffin raved about Austin Simmons, who's now at Missouri. But when he got hurt, they put Trinidad in, and Trinidad was clearly better. But when Austin got healthy, he still put him in. And then he just had to make that tough decision. And I think what happens is, it is hard telling a quarterback who's been with you for some years that, hey, we got to go with this other guy. It is hard. Saban had to go through that because we knew Jalen Hurts was winning, but and played for the national title. It was hard to go to Tua, even though everybody knew Tua was better, but you were still winning games at the end of the day. Right. I just think, like, with this, I said it's, winning's the first thing. And that's why when people are talking about replacing Bureau with the board guy here, I'm like, guys, they made the playoff with him last year. You got to ride that out, But my thing is, like, with this team, I think, like, the team has a different mentality, like these younger guys being leaders. Like, last year, the leaders on the team talked about disrespect will be no disrespect to be addressed or whatever. Yonze pretty much said the other day, let us pass through the talking. I like that mentality. You don't engage in it. We just, and like, when I tell you that clip, Christian, about Adrian Clem, I'm glad y'all talked about the teaching part. And that's the thing. And I think a lot of fans don't realize. offensive line and defensive line, there's a lot of teaching involved in that because in high school, most offensive linemen played left tackle. They got to learn how to use their hands, leverage, and going against guys as big and strong and defensive line as well. And I like it. See, I think a lot of fans who and Feinbaum and Steve they don't get is these coaches know early on, and this position going to be a problem. This coach ain't it. So we got to ride it out this season, and we'll fix this in the offseason. They made the moves. We'll see how it works out. But I'm glad that they did the Belichick and said, why do we win? Why do we lose? They made the moves to try to address these issues. And as fans, we got to at least be happy that he did that and not be like Lincoln Riley, who stuck with, I think it's named Alex Grinch for all those years, defense was terrible. And now he's on a hot seat even though he made the change. And I just like what they've done with the team so far. And I like the mentality from these young guys out there. They ain't talking trash to the players. They just say, hey, we just going to let our pass do the talking. But I know you guys up against it. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to chime in on that. You guys have a great day.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right, brother.
Appreciate you, Smitty.
Go get you a good fresh white bread for your bologna. Sounds good.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, we only got a couple minutes, literally. Digger's on here. I think he wanted just to chime in briefly. Digger, you got about 2 minutes if you want to throw something at us.
Real quick. Did you look at that schedule?
Which schedule?
Your schedule. That is
yes, of course. We
schedule. If you don't go 10-2, it's a huge disappointment. End of story. Look at that schedule, man. That schedule is
you come here with that foolishness.
I wanted to say is, listen, now, I did see you were right. I think it is considered the 14th ranked schedule in the conference, according to FPI or whatever that was. I did see that, and you were right on that one. But listen, regardless, though, I think that says more about the conference itself. I wouldn't say our schedule's easy. I just think our conference really just has tough schedules, right? If you think about it, you add that 9th SEC game. I would say for us, you're right, though, there are other teams that have much more difficult schedules. LSU schedule is tough. I'll give you that one for sure. I mean, like, ours is definitely manageable.
What about Texas?
I mean, they play Ohio State.
in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, they got a tough
schedule in the nation. End of story. Go back and look at it.
You got the best Catholic high school quarterback to the nation, don't you?
Hey, I mean, listen, Archman, man, you giving him flag for his name, man. He seems like a good kid, man.
Jewish? What is that? Ain't no Catholic school.
He went to a Catholic 2A school.
He went to Newman. He
played better at the end of the year. He played better than you. Don't worry, Digger. We're going to talk a little bit about Texas coming up. We'll talk about Texas,
right?
Bye.
Everything is bigger in Texas, meaning the biggest jokes. That's what Texas is, the biggest joke.
Hey, we got only about a minute left, so I got to say this before we get out of here. Lambrello Law, Education and Advocacy. Make sure you guys check them out for all your representation needs. They are the official representation here on the Miller's Edge, whether it's criminal defense matters, which hopefully you guys don't find yourself in that situation. But if you do, check them out, of course. Lambrello-law.com is the website. Get yourself a free consultation. Academic misconduct, NIL, they've got you covered. Plus a whole bunch of services for high school, college, and graduate students for test taking preparation, exam, all that stuff, academic and career planning. They got you covered. Lambrello-law.com. Plus check out the YouTube channel, Lambrello Law. Go subscribe right now for free legal advice from Adam himself, who will be joining us tomorrow. Again, that's Lambrello Law, the best in the business, the best prices, they're affordable. Lambrello Law, the official representation here on the Miller's Edge. That'll do it for us on a Wednesday edition. Big thanks to Reed behind the glass, all you guys listening on Tide 100.9. All of our streaming.
All right, Reed, I'll let your boy Reed.
We will see you guys tomorrow right here, Tide 100.9, 12.